37 client folders, each one its own mess of receipts in Dropbox, WhatsApp screenshots, phone photos of invoices. The bookkeeper opens the first. 15 line items, uncategorized. Opens the second. A duplicate invoice, sent twice. Cursor hovers over QuickBooks. Manual entry, line by line. 8 clients. The ceiling. Not because the market runs dry, because every new client adds the exact same manual load as the last one. Margin doesn't scale up. It scales down with every signed contract. One bookkeeper physically cannot onboard a 9th client without quality bleeding out of the first 8. By the end of this audit, same operator, same time budget, 20 clients instead of 8. Not a hypothesis, a running system. The root isn't receipt volume. The root is the data entry point. Every receipt starts life as an unstructured image. A client's phone, an email attachment, a photo off a kitchen counter, a WhatsApp screenshot. None of these formats are structured. None are ledger-ready. Between the photo and the QuickBooks entry sits one narrow channel. A human who has to look at the picture, read the amount, determine the category, and type it in by hand. 37 times over. Once per client. Manual OCR with a person standing in for a model. That's what this actually is. The most mechanical, lowest judgment part of the work can't physically scale faster than one bookkeeper's clock hours. The fix, structurally. One intake point, one email, one WhatsApp number, regardless of how many clients are connected. Receipt lands there. An AI extraction node reads the image, pulls vendor, amount, date. A categorization node maps it against that specific client's chart of accounts. A structured record lands in QuickBooks with zero human touch. Where a human used to be required at every step, now they're only needed for exceptions. Intake point. One shared email address and one WhatsApp number across all 37 clients. Client photographs a receipt, sends it. Doesn't matter which channel. N8N listens on both with a single trigger. First mistake operators make here: mixed attachment formats, PDF, HEIC, JPEG. And without format normalization, half the files silently fail at the OCR stage. No line in the log. Attachment lands in the extraction node. Model reads the image, pulls vendor, amount, date, currency. Second risk point here. Handwritten receipts and faded thermal paper produce low confidence reads. Without a confidence threshold, the system silently accepts an approximately right number as final. Confidence below 85%, the record doesn't go to QuickBooks. It goes to a separate manual review queue. That's not a bug fix. That's an architecture decision. The system needs to be able to say, not sure, not guess. Categorization is its own node. Model maps vendor against that specific client's chart of accounts, not a generic template. Risk point 3. If client A's chart of accounts and client B's share a label but differ in structure, blind mapping reuse silently breaks categorization on the second client. Binding runs on client ID, not on label name. Final node. Sync to QuickBooks through that client's own API connection. Separate credentials per client. Credential bleed between clients isn't a hypothetical risk. It's a direct path for one client's financial data landing in another client's account. Live test. A real receipt. Coffee at a client meeting, $47. Photographed and sent through the intake WhatsApp number. N8N catches the webhook in milliseconds. OCR node reads the image. Vendor identified. Amount, $47. Date matches today. Recognition confidence, 90%. Above the 85 threshold, the record routes straight through. No manual review queue. Categorization node checks against that specific client's chart of accounts by client ID. Category: Client Meals and Entertainment. Record builds in the format QuickBooks API expects. Date, amount, vendor, category, client binding. Final call, sync. QuickBooks confirms the transaction created. Under a minute from photo to ledger entry. 0 manual keystrokes. Before, 1 bookkeeper, 8 clients. Roughly 15 hours a week on manual entry and receipt categorization, not counting time spent fixing errors, duplicates, missed attachments. After, same bookkeeper, same work week, 20 clients. Not from working harder, not from hiring, from manual entry ceasing to exist as a task. The entire structured portion of the work now happens between the photo and QuickBooks with 0 keystrokes. What's left for the bookkeeper? Reviewing the low-confidence records the system flagged itself, and final sign-off before period close, which is exactly what real bookkeeping expertise is for. Not reading a number off a faded receipt. 8 clients per operator. 20 clients, same operator. Not a projection. Not a hypothetical model. Throughput confirmed on the live test above. The same ceiling holds any service agency where margin is tied to manual hours per client, not to how many clients exist in the market. Take legal retainer work. Document intake from the client, manual categorization by case type, manual reconciliation of deadlines and statuses. A paralegal sits there sorting incoming files instead of doing legal work. The same narrow channel as a bookkeeper sorting receipts, just with the intake called case documents instead of receipts. Take a multi-account marketing agency. Pulling creative assets and metrics off different client platforms, manually aggregating reporting before every check-in call, manually reformatting the same numbers into different templates for different clients. An account manager physically can't take on a 15th account because the 14th is already eating every hour budgeted for manual reporting. Both cases run into the same mechanics. Low judgment routine work scales linearly with client count instead of staying flat. Demand in the market is sufficient in both cases. What's missing is one person's manual throughput on the intake side. If you run bookkeeping, legal retainer work, or client marketing accounts and recognize this ceiling, comment Ledger below. I'll send you the build. N8N, the extraction node, the categorization node, the QuickBooks sync, the exact stack you just watched run.